China is currently experiencing a run on the banks, at least according to Bloomberg, and this can be very, very bad news for China. Run on the banks is just all in all destabilizing for an economy as everyone rushes to their local bank to take their cash out. The banks don't necessarily have all that cash to give out, and then default, collapse, chaos. We'll see how this plays out. But there are other issues happening in the U.S. as well. It's not just China. In the U.S., mortgage delinquencies, mortgage-backed security delinquencies. Look, man, if there's a run on the banks in one part of the world, it could ripple across the world, and we could see economic chaos. And all this is coming after Donald Trump signed an executive order declaring a national emergency in defense of Hong Kong. Things are getting spicy, folks. This may be the most interesting year of our lives, no matter how old you are. But let's read this story from Bloomberg. However, I want to give a shout out to myself. If you haven't already, go over to timcast.net and subscribe. It's my main channel because a lot of people seem to get confused, not realizing I have multiple channels. So again, timcast.net, subscribe to my main channel. Let's read this story. They say social media filled rumors about banks collapsing are propping up an unprecedented frequency in China, forcing regulators and even the police to step in and calm depositors. Woo, getting spicy. Just this past month, worried savers have descended on 3 banks to withdraw funds amid rumors of cash shortages that were later dismissed as false. Over the weekend, customers rushed to a bank in the northern Hebei province to take out money, prompting local regulators to publicly vouch for the soundness of its lenders as the police halted the run. That's not going to convince people. They're going to still freak out. Confidence in the $43 trillion banking system is eroding among the nation's more than 1 billion account holders, threatening a cornerstone of China's rise into an economic powerhouse. After several bailouts and the first bank seizure in more than 2 decades last year, the coronavirus outbreak and its economic fallout have exacerbated an already shaky situation in the world's largest banking system. Quote, the perception Chinese savers had of banks being risk-free is changing, even though in nearly all recent cases, their deposits have been protected, said Shang Shuaishuai, a Shanghai-based analyst at China International Capital Corp. Once a rumor like this spreads, it brings immediate liquidity risk to a bank. For decades, deposit taking has provided a stable and low-cost funding base for China's financial market, playing a key part in the rise of its economy to the second largest in the world. Chinese households hold about 90 trillion yuan, about $13 trillion of bank deposits, more than anywhere else in the world. Regulators are now not only seeking to soothe nerves publicly, but are also raising the protection to preserve this cushion for banks. The run in Hebei came after authorities kicked off a pilot program to limit large transactions in the province. The 2-year program, which is to be expanded to Zhejiang. Okay, so this I'm less concerned about. They say authorities have more than 3,000 banks to oversee, most of which are small rural entities. Okay, yeah, we get it. Squashing the rumors. In the most recent episodes, authorities stepped in last month to halt bank runs at 2 local lenders in Hebei and Shanxi. On July 11th, savers rushed to withdraw money from Hengshui Bank Co., also based in Hebei, before the police put a stop to it. In response, the local offices of the People's Bank of China and the CBIRC said in a joint statement that Hengshui Bank and its branches are legitimate financial entities where any savings under $500,000 are protected under China's deposit insurance regulation. They reassured depositors their money is safe and urged them not to blindly withdraw savings. Police took people into custody, issuing reprimands to those spreading rumors, according to the statement. They say Huang Shi said in an emailed reply on Wednesday that the city government is actively dealing with the issue and called for less publicity. Could it be a psy-op? America spreading rumors in China to destabilize their financial markets? That is but a conspiracy theory, and we don't know. I can tell you, though, this could be very destabilizing for China and could threaten this economy at a time when tensions are escalating. Now, I understand, many of you are probably sitting there saying like, oh man, China, they could only play this game for so long, but hold on. We are all tied together. These international bonds, these trade lines, the international banking industry, one thing leads to another, man. One thing leads to another. These are a couple stories that I've highlighted before, but they need to be brought up now. Listen, if there's economic instability in China, there will be economic instability around the world. Maybe that's what Donald Trump is concerned about, that China's fake system is being propped up and will eventually fall apart and take us down with it. And the same could be true for us following 07 and 08, the mortgage-backed securities crisis. Perhaps we better actually secure our own future. You know what? It's like, stop relying on somebody else who owes you money and save up some money for yourself for a rainy day. Commercial mortgage delinquencies surge at record monthly rate in June. Who saw this coming? I mean, everybody? Come on, people can't pay their mortgages. Look at this. Delinquencies in commercial mortgage-backed securities jumped by 213 basis points to 3.59% from 1.46, more than double. It was the largest one-month spike since Fitch Ratings began tracking the metric nearly 16 years ago. We got a record on our hands. 16 years ago? Whoa. So how bad was it in 07 and 08? Hopefully we don't get to that point. But if it's worse than it's ever been, perhaps we're well beyond that point. Ladies and gentlemen, CNBC says 32% of U.S. households missed their July housing payments. 32? Oh, man. Trump wants to send everybody back to school. He wants the kids back in school because he wants people to be able to go back to work. And if they have to deal with their kids, then some people might not go back to work. We are in not good shape, man. So we can sit here and we can say, wow. And a lot of people might gloat watching China's run on the banks. But how long until we have a run on the banks? How long until people see this and say, hey, wait a minute. We are in some serious trouble, man. These mortgage-backed securities are going to tank. What happens when the value of the U.S. dollar tanks? And that's what's being said. And there's rumors circulating that there's a looming dollar crisis. And why wouldn't there be? Our entire economy was just stopped dead in its tracks. People can't pay for their houses anymore. There's no services. What do you even spend your money on? I can't go to the movies. They've been closed. All the businesses are shutting back down again. California, particularly. So what good is that green picture of a dead president if I can't do anything with it? Now, I understand, look, you can still get your Teslas and you can probably buy a fancy yacht somewhere. Money is still good for something, of course. But if it can do less things, it will be worth less, not worthless. I have to wonder about everything that's been going on with the economy, if there is going to be kind of a light at the end of the tunnel. For the longest time, I've talked about what I wished we would do with our managerial power, with our human labor power. And I wish that we allocated resources towards space travel, technology, human longevity. Instead, we allocate a ton of resources to complete and utter garbage, things we don't need to do. How much money do people spend on getting that extra swing of golf in their digital mobile golf game? How much money do people spend on Candy Crush to get that one extra power up so they can swap a piece of candy and then make a line disappear? A lot of money. And that money, what does it do? Is this really the economic transaction that we should be focusing on? No, not in my opinion. I want to see the development of new space-age materials. I want to see the development of, interstellar travel technologies. I want to see Mars get colonized by humanity. But we would rather play video games. We'd rather buy nachos and go to the movies. Maybe because of this crisis, we will see a curtailing of our own economy in a bad way, and it'll hurt a lot of people. And I recognize that. That's the worst of it. But perhaps there will still be a light at the end of the tunnel. Perhaps something good will still come of it. Maybe we'll, from the ashes of the old, build something better. I know the far left wants communism. Hopefully it's not that. Maybe we can take it in a positive direction. Maybe when all of these unnecessary systems start breaking down, a new economy will emerge based on necessities, things that actually help us. Maybe we'll stop with the, extra golf swing in our mobile game. Unfortunately, I kind of feel like, I think because of the remote nature of COVID and all that stuff, we're more likely to get nonsensical economics, more mobile games, more digital, more remote, and maybe that won't be what we need. I don't know for sure, but maybe it'll impact everybody, and maybe this will be a shock to the rest of humanity. Do you know anything about Star Trek, the Star Trek universe? Look, I'll just tell you. In Star Trek, they're in this glorious liberal future. That's right, the true sense of the word, not the way it's been mishmashed to mean leftist and Democrat. I mean actual freedom and post-scarcity, no less. The communists try to claim that Star Trek is communist. It's not. But I bring this up for a reason. In the history of the Star Trek universe, there was a period where the entire civilization, of humanity was in ruin. Economic and total collapse, warring factions, the complete collapse of the United States. But in the end, they were able to come together and create a much better post-scarcity society, recover from this. Maybe we're on track for something like that. Maybe this economic downturn will be the worst of it. But from this, we'll start allocating our resources towards things that are much more important and maybe lead us to that beautiful Star Trek-like future. Well, I can't see the future, so I don't know for sure, but I can hope at least, right? Anyway, I'll leave it there. Stick around. I got a couple more segments coming up for you in just a few minutes, and I will see you all then.